Will Delegate Assembly please come to order? Captain, could you lead us in the pledge?
My pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank everybody for coming today. Keep looking at the minutes while we get a law enforcement report.
Good morning. Happy 4th to you guys who celebrated it. All right, we'll start off with our June traffic report. So in the village, PBSO conducted 36 traffic stops, which resulted in 54 citations, 7 written warnings, and 5 verbal warnings. We did report in the village, you guys reported 4 individual accidents that we responded to. The next is our calls for service in the village. Pretty standard. This is about our average, right around our average. We had 238 calls for service, which usually encompasses residence checks. Out of that, we pulled 40 case numbers, and most of those case numbers were relatively minor violations, nothing extensively criminal. Now the captain's going to speak on a couple cases of interest for the village.
Good morning, Century Village. Hope everyone had a great Independence Day. We have a lot to be thankful for to live in such a great country, all the freedoms that are afforded to us and all the opportunities. So I just want to put that out there because there's no other place like the United States. So hope everyone took a moment to reflect all the sacrifices that people have made so that we are where we're at today as a nation. Because at the end of the day, we're all together and in it together. A couple cases of interest. They were really light for June, which is good. We had a residential burglary reported that was over in Bedford. Victim reported her iPhone was taken, but there was no signs of forced entry. I'm sure our detectives are going to try to help locate that with all the iPhone technology that's out there to find the phone. And there was a reported theft of a bike from a bike rack. Appears it was left unsecure, and that was in Berkshire. The one thing I want to talk to happened over in Southampton C. There was an incident between 2 neighbors. One of them used anti-Semitic language against another neighbor, which is really unacceptable. But I just want to remind people that when you're involved in a conflict with someone and someone's really heated in the moment, emotionally you don't know which way people can go. So it's always best, common sense is the best part of valor. Sometimes you don't always have to prove you're right, especially if someone's having an issue. We see now that a lot of people become emotionally charged over certain things, and this was what this incident was over, some kind of dispute, and then some person said some really nasty racially insensitive things to another member in Century Village. That member did the right thing. That village resident reported it to law enforcement. We came in, we did a report, we made sure everybody was separated, we maintained the peace, and both individuals went about their business. So if you do happen to have a confrontation or an issue like that, it's not good to escalate the situation by continuously confront someone, especially if they're not that important to you. Step away from it, contact security, maybe go to a neighbor's house or contact law enforcement so we can get involved in that, okay? It wasn't a crime. It was really a spat between 2 people, but it was some nasty anti-Semitic language that was said. So if you guys hear about that, just want to make sure that you're aware. The heat is really awful. I want to make sure that you guys take care of each other, make sure you drink a lot of water. This is a very, very hot summer. These temperatures are rising to like mid-90s to right about high 90s, low 100s. So if you're going to be out doing any kind of activities, make sure that you have water with you and make sure that you moderate yourself to only a couple hours and make sure you come back inside, get shade, get air conditioning because it is very, very hot out there. And heat casualties is something that Fire Rescue and Sheriff's Office does deal with on occasion. Hurricane season, we just had one that passed through south of us, so just be careful of that. It was over in the Gulf. So we're in a target range, and this is the time frame. Make sure your plans are in place. You check with your neighbors, with your family. You have everything that you need. I know you have a long meeting. Does anybody have anything for us, Sheriff's Office? All right, we'll see you at 1 o'clock.
No meeting today.
Oh, no meeting
Office is
today?
closed. Nope.
Okay, no meeting today.
You're off the hook.
Oh, we're off the hook. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. See you next month.
Thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Motion made by Sandy Levine, seconded by Judy Blow. Judy Blow. Are there any corrections to the minutes as presented? The minutes will be accepted as presented. No. Yes. Okay. We're going to start with Donald today. Donald, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. I have a clue why Fausto put me up to the front today. How many of you have read my article in the newspaper this past week? So you know what I'm about to talk about, right? Alterations inside condominium units. This problem is running rampant. It's out of control now, all right? We're seeing complete gut jobs, walls removed, sometimes load-bearing walls, no permits, no insurance, no authorization from the board, no membership vote, no good. This has to stop. Now, UCO is going to do what we can to help you, the boards of Century Village. We're going to exert tighter control at our gates to the extent that we can. We're also working with the county. Fausto and I have a meeting with the director of the building department next week. And we're going to try to see how they can help these gut jobs stop before they become a code enforcement or a structural issue. But no matter what we do, our first line of defense is always going to be you, the boards, you, the board members, you, the unit owners. You got to keep an eye on your buildings. Somebody should be walking your building once a week. You should be looking for notices in the windows, covered up windows that don't look right, commercial vehicles, construction work, ladders, drywall marks on the walls. You guys got to get on top of this because once the place has been guttered, now you have a problem on your hands. Now you've got lawyer, now you've got insurance, now you have administrative issues. Best way to stop it is to stop it before it starts. And it starts with making sure your unit owners know before they pick up a hammer in their units, they need to give written request to the boards. And the boards themselves need to, no work should start until there's a written approval from the board. There should be engineering. You should be able to look at their insurance. Most of us shouldn't be making these decisions on our own. We have property managers and attorneys and professionals that are, and by the way, the UCO Insurance Department that can look at these, particularly insurance, to see. We're seeing a lot of underinsured contractors that don't have workers' comp. That's, who do you think's workers' comp is going to get hit if somebody gets hurt? It's going to be your association. It's going to affect your premiums. So this is all to do with money. So just putting the word out. This is a real and growing problem. So we all need to work together on this. All right? And that's all I got today. I'm happy to answer any questions about that or anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. Okay, treasurer. Joanne, you're up.
I just have a couple of things. I don't want to drag the meeting out. As you noticed coming in, we had a handout of our annual audit. This is one of the requirements of the treasurer that, according to the bylaws, an audit be done every year, and it's one I take very, very seriously. We did complete that audit, and I'm happy to say that we have no mishandling, no suspected problems, so glad to present it to you today. If you have any questions, or if you didn't happen to pick up a copy of it, we'll have copies at the office. Stop by. I'm glad to talk to anybody that wants to go over it. But the big news is on July 17th and also on August 21st, we're going to have what I call budget town hall meetings. I want the community to understand exactly where your money is being spent and exactly what it is we do with every penny that you write checks for. So on July 17th, it's going to be more of an introductory, where are we today? What does our current budget look like? How are we going to go forward with constructing a new budget? Because also the bylaws call for a budget to be presented to the delegates at the October Delegate Assembly. So you say, well, what are you talking about this in July for? We need the community to understand how we do this. And to that end, we're having, we used to have a gentleman by the name of Sebastian Yeen come in and work with us to construct the budget and talk to you. And he was an expert on community budgeting. He's not available, but we do have another gentleman that used to work with us some years back, Mike Markuski. He will be coming in, and his firm used to audit. Judah and SQ was our old audit company. He's still with them, and he has a very intimate knowledge of the transactions that take place and how, the budget gets constructed. And he's a CPA, he's very up to date on current laws, current regulations, things like that we really haven't paid a whole lot of attention to as a community. I want him to come in, and on July 17th, hopefully he'll be able to make it. And also our bookkeeper, I'm hoping will be there as well. So from a day-to-day, if there's any particular questions anybody has, we have the answers for you. So this is going to be a real working session. Hoping it'll be at 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm hoping that doesn't interfere with people's schedules or, I didn't want it to conflict with much of anything else. So that's what we're doing. And the last and not insignificant thing is at the end of each financial report every month, I make sure that we have a list of buildings that owe accounts receivable. And I put that in the financial statement, not to call attention to anybody, but just to have a talk. And we now, when I took over in March, we had 3 pages worth of associations out of 300 associations. We now have just a small handful, not a half a page of a few people that some of the issues are like Seacrest and our accounting, and no one's really paid attention to this. So we've got it really down. So thank you, everybody, for your cooperation. We've gotten that part of our bookkeeping straightened out to the largest extent. For 309 associations, I'm really happy with what we've done. So you can all give yourself a round of applause. I'm glad that we don't have any problem with our collections from our community. So, but that's it for me. Thank you.
Joanne, the negative balances on there, does that mean they're owed money, or?
That just means that it's a bookkeeping, they overpaid a little bit. We send them a quarterly bill, and for whatever reason, we're looking into anything on that. It's just those last few things that the bookkeepers are talking to the bookkeepers, so. The August 21st will be to refine the July meeting is going to be sort of a way to go forward. The August is going to be roll up your sleeves, we're going to do it. So that in September, the committees can vote on it, because it all has to go through committees before it comes here in October. So hopefully the calendar gives everybody time to really think about it and look at stuff, because this is boring. It's, accounting, So. No, here, at Meeting Room C at 1:30. I'm hoping to have, the August one will be in the paper. Obviously, July is too late for that. But we're going to have it on the TV station. I'm going to ask Donald to put it in his report. So we'll try and get the word out just quickly.
Thank you, Joanne. Miss Ruth, you could reporter today.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your 4th weekend, what's left of it. I don't have too much to report to you. The paper came out last weekend. Hope you've read it. Through June, the paper is ahead $2,300. We're very happy with that. We have nice ads that you have seen. And other than that, There's nothing else to report. Have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you in August.
Thank you. All right, Jerry.
Good morning, everyone. Happy post-4th. Have a couple of things to bring to your attention. This past Monday, there were a couple of new laws that went into effect that affect condominiums. I'm just going to briefly go through them. I'm not going to go into minutia about them, just highlighting them to you. First thing is mandatory websites. Any building that is 25 units or more must have a website put up with certain information. It has to be done by January 1st, 2026. There are 12 different items, and I'm not going to go into those items right now. There's also the new law requiring director education. Any director that was appointed before July 1st, 2024 will be required to comply by June 30th, 2025. They must take 4 hours of educational classes in order to be on the board. Board meetings. A board must hold at least one meeting per quarter. Now, somebody asked me yesterday, well, could I have 4 board meetings in a row? And the law says per quarter. So if you want to have 4 board meetings in a row, that's fine, but that's not fulfilling the requirement. So again, you must have 4 board meetings per quarter. Official records inspection. An owner comes to you, you have to give him the records that he requested within a reasonable amount of time. There was one more item here that I wanted just to bring to everybody's attention. Oh, yes, the structural integrity reserve study. Again, this affects 3 or 4-story buildings here in the village. It has to be in place by December 31st, 2024, and that means basically that you have to have the knowledge of what you're going to be looking at. And as I've heard from 1 or 2 buildings already, they're talking to me about a $200 increase in their maintenance with regard to this study. So this is just something that you have to plan and prepare for. And after this study is done, the board is required to give a copy of this study to all unit owners. There's one final thing, and that's about electronic voting. An owner can opt and can request the board to have electronic voting if they can't be here presently, attend the meeting or attend what has to be voted on at the present time. There was 2 other quick items. Again, the Transparency Act, the Corporate Transparency Act, that is due at the end of this year. It is serious. It is not Sunbiz. It is federal government. And if it's not done, it will incur some heavy penalties. So please look into getting that done. Talk to your attorney, talk to your accountant, talk to whomever you're going to talk to, but get this thing filled out before December 31st. There's one more item that was brought to my attention that really bothered me, and I talked about this at the executive board meeting. There was an owner who came to me, had an issue with some of the rules of her association. And the president told her, I don't follow the rules. I don't have to follow the rules. That's outrageous. That president should be reported, made to resign, and leave the board. If you're a president, you set the example. You don't tell an owner, I don't have to follow the rules. And just to with that, just one more thing. It's hurricane season. Everybody, please be safe, be prepared, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jerry. Kelly, you're up. Oh, I'm sorry. Who's got a question?
Tell them to come up to the mic.
Come up to the mic.
I believe there's microphones back there if you're in the back.
Jerry, the thing that we have to fill out by the end of the year is called what?
Corporate Transparency Act.
Okay.
There's
Now,
a handout, and it's in the package that you got today.
Okay. I remember at the last meeting, Joanne and Donald were talking about how they were trying to fill out the forms for this, and they got to page 2 and got no further. Have any of you gotten any experience figuring this out?
Go ahead, Donald.
All right, what we're finding, originally our thought was that this was going to be an attorney's job. It's turning out that it's becoming an accounting function. And that's who's going to be doing this for most condominiums here in Florida. For most of us, our accountant for our associations is Seacrest Services, right? Some of us have Fester, and some of us have others, or self-manage. But there's an accountant. Up until now, Seacrest has indicated that they weren't going to be doing that filing for them, but they are your accountant. So my thought is you should maybe go back to Seacrest or to Fester and say, look, we need our accountant to do this filing for us. Just as the other federal filing that they do for you, which is your income tax filing. So that's where I think this is headed.
So you think we should press Seacrest or whoever?
Yes, I do.
Whatever.
And I intend to do it. Fausto and I are going to do it as well. We're going to call Diana in for another meeting. As it turns out that this is an accounting function, they are our accountant. So if I have to find another accountant to make this filing for my association, what do I need Seacrest for, frankly? So we're working on it. This has kind of all hit us unaware, not unawares, but suddenly we're paying attention to it. So we'll get there.
Okay.
All right.
My other
Donald,
question-
Yeah,
question.
hit it.
I'm not done.
Wait, let Mr. Brenner finish,
Oh,
all
I'm
right?
sorry.
Thanks.
Jerry, you said we have to have 4 meetings a year, correct?
Yes, and quarterly. So you already have 2 meetings that
We have
you're
2.
already doing, your budget meeting in the 3rd quarter and your annual meeting
Are
in your
these
1st quarter.
these general meetings for the whole building?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes. They're board meetings, but the entire membership needs to be notified 48 hours notice. And now, what the notification is, I expect it's what you would always do for board meeting, put an agenda up on the bulletin board. But if some associations choose to use email and postal mail to let everybody know there's going to be a meeting.
Okay.
All right.
In my building, I'm lucky to get 3 people to attend.
It's okay, as long as you
Doesn't
have the
matter.
meeting.
Okay, so I can have a meeting by myself if I'm the only one there.
If you have no quorum, then you have no quorum. And also, remember, you can have your meetings at the UCO conference room off hours. Your CAM has to be there either electronically or in person. But I don't think this is a bad thing to have a meeting once a quarter.
I'm just saying that in my building, there aren't enough owners.
Right. Well, there's also Zoom, right? And we can help with that as well. So I don't think having a quorum gets you out of having to schedule and notice the meeting. You need to keep doing, and it's 2 more than you normally would. Seacrest will do this for you.
Thank you.
Yes, Ken?
Yeah, Donald,
can.
on the handout about the Corporate Transparency Act,
Yeah.
it says who does not have to report. And one of the things says nonprofits.
Nonprofits.
Yeah.
Your association is a Florida not-for-profit under
Is it-
FSA 718.
So that's different than nonprofits?
I believe it is, yes.
Yes. It
And-
says
and-
all
and-
condo associations must file.
At any rate, our attorneys are telling us that we are subject to this, until we hear otherwise.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so my topic today is the same as Jerry's. Monday of this week, new laws were passed. I looked, I downloaded a summary. It was 37 pages. There's a lot to look at there. How you find it is you look up House Bill 1021. And like Jerry said in the executive board last week, the key thing behind this is transparency. They're trying to require boards to be much more transparent. That's all I had.
Stuart?
I lost a mind bet. I did not believe that we would have so many people here today, and I'm glad I lost the bet, and welcome to the Delegate Assembly.
By the way, Stuart, we have a quorum. We have 117 people in the House.
That's terrific. I'm glad everybody decided to stay here and enjoy the holiday at Century Village. The police officers reported some minor incidents, and I'd like to report one that maybe you're not aware of. Sometimes doing what you think doing the right thing could lead you to having some issues, and a woman came in, a unit owner came in and described what had happened to her. She went to Publix and had a load of groceries, and she was schlepping it onto the bus when a homeless woman came over to her and said, "I'd like to help you if it's all right." And the woman said, "Sure, fine." And so she helped her put the packages on the bus, but the bus driver never asked for the homeless woman's ID and allowed her on the bus. The bus then arrived in Century Village with the homeless woman helping carry the packages of the unit owner into her apartment. The unit owner was really a very nice person and decided to say, you know, "Thank you very much, let me feed you." And she fed her lunch. The homeless woman said, "Thank you very much," got up, went to the couch, sat down, and fell asleep. The unit owner was bewildered. What am I going to do? And she knocked on a neighbor's door who said, "We'll have to get her out." Well, they tried to wake the woman up, and the woman refused to move. And finally, they had to call the police, and the police came and removed the homeless woman from the unit and Century Village. You could understand the person's motivation. She was kind. She was trying to do the right thing. But sometimes you get somebody's going to bite you in the behind. So please exercise common sense when you're involved in situations like that, because it could lead to things that you may not want to happen. One other thing is that we were talking about construction being done. We have that happening in my my building rather, and we have shut it down completely. We have a lawyer who notified the unit owner, who has, after 4 weeks now, has not responded to our letters, and we have completely closed the apartment down, and the work that was started is just there and so on, and we're waiting for this person to come back or at least respond. But I could understand the problems that many of the associations have, and after reading Donald's report and seeing the pictures, it really is very scary when associations allow this craziness to go on. And that's it for me.
Donald,
Delegates, on Stu, I just got back from vacation, so this homeless person getting on our bus and getting into somebody's unit, this is the first I'm hearing of it, but I'm quite concerned. I'll be getting specific information from Stu, and I will be having a strongly worded conversation with our bus driver, our bus company. They need to be checking IDs on every single person that goes onto that bus. That's a major lapse. All right? Just want to let you know, because you're going to think about it after you left here. Thanks.
David Boaz.
Wait a minute, before we go any further. The police have reported it, security is aware of it and has written it up, and I'll give you the details when I...
Thank you.
Okay.
David Boaz, you're up.
Thank everybody for being here. I'm also lost a bit. I did not think we would have a quorum today, but thank you all for being here. Enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend. Just another reminder that the Yugo office is closed today, and we'll be back in office on Monday at 9 o'clock. There's several of us here that are notaries. If you need notary work done for something in Century Village, such as a certificate of approval or something else that pertains strictly to Century Village, you can bring it in through the regular business hours. We don't do title transfers. We don't do real estate transfers. If you're looking for something like that, you'll have to go to a different notary on that. Of course, you may have to pay for it, but certificates of approval and other very small items, we just take care of it, no charge. And that's it, and we thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay. As of July 1st, most of you know that your permanent guest list has been limited to 6 people. So for those of you that have had 50 or 60 people on your permanent guest list, don't laugh, because it's true. They're gone. There was a little glitch between Saturday and Wednesday, but I believe it is straightened out. But if you do have a permanent guest list, go on there and make sure that your guests that you have on there are on there. If not, you may have to reinstall them onto your program. Most of you know that we've had some issues with the gates where people that have expired registration, expired barcodes, they're tying up the residence lane. At the suggestion of our security, they now don't take a name per se. What they do is they write the barcode number, and they notify us every 2 or 3 days, and either letters or postcards are going out to those individuals to come into the office and update their barcodes or replace them if they're too old. You cannot imagine how many people, what do I need a registration for? I've lived here for 30 years, you know? We still need a registration. If you get one of those letters, bring in your ID and your current registration, and it's almost painless. If you have a barcode that's 7 or 8 years old, or it's illegible, or you transferred it from another car, it's going to cost you $10. Okay? Yeah, make sure, yeah, it's cash. No checks, no credit cards, and that's to keep the cost down. The other thing that there seems to be a lot of negative feedback is it is up to one of the officers of the building to come either to UCO or WPRF to get a new certificate of occupancy for a renter or an occupant. There's a reason for that. We want to make sure that the boards know who is living in the building. Okay, technically, it's your responsibility to make sure that you give a certificate of occupancy. Perfect example, 2 weeks ago, I got a phone call from a president who knew that an individual's was going to expire in 7 days, but she left to go north, and they have no other officers, and she couldn't be bothered to get the renter a certificate of occupancy. And guess whose fault it was? UCO's. It's UCO's job to get this man a certificate of occupancy. It's not. It's up to the board. The boards need to oversee these things. So I use a rule of thumb. If you have a renter, make sure that you, 30 days before that lease expires, have the renter or the occupant come to the board and say, look, here's my new lease. I need a new form. Don't wait until the last day or until it expires. Okay? Unfortunately, the days of sitting back and doing nothing and drinking pina coladas at the pool are gone. Okay? There was a little mention before of House Bill 1021. Make sure you all read it. These are 3 things. House Bill 1021 took effect July 1st. Condo 3.0 also took effect. And the DBPR has been given $750 million to oversee what board members are not doing for their boards. That includes hiring new people, following up, making sure that your condo is being taken care of correctly. So for those of you that are board members that are not going to be here, well, I know you guys are here, but contact board members that are not here and say that you have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that there's somebody in the condo that can do business. And the other thing is, make sure that your corporate seal is somewhere within Century Village, not 400 miles away or 1,000 miles away. Okay. Do we have any unfinished business? Dominic, I'm sorry.
I was sleeping.
You were sleeping?
Good morning. This is my 86th 4th of July, and I'm enjoying it. Thank you. I'd like to add something to the handout that the CAM had talked about. I made a trip to the planning, zoning, and building departments and asked if they had available some literature on what are the things that have to be. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a soft voice anyway. My wife doesn't think so. That you have to abide by. And I have here a pile of about 75 pamphlets that you can come and take, and I have been assured that for the rest of the village, I'll be getting more from them, and we'll be having them at the front desk at the UCO office. That's about it. Hopefully, we can curtail all the bad work that's being done by people who only are half-assed and not half-witted. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominic. Do we have any unfinished business? Any unfinished business? Hearing none. Do we have any new business?
I'd like
Yes.
to bring up and get an update on getting a pharmacy because it impacts greatly particularly the residents that have no vehicles and they can't even get staples.
We have an update for you. Go ahead, Donald.
Good morning. Jerry just said, you want to give them an update on the medical building? And I was like, well, nobody asked. We'll keep it. Somebody asked. All right, I got a little bit of news. I have been informed by the managing partner of the medical building that they are in the process of selling the building to a pharmacy, if you can believe it. My understanding of it is that when they were negotiating with another pharmacist, and this is a pharmacy up in Brooklyn, I think, they asked for an option to buy the building, and that developed into them buying the building. So I understand that they're in contract. I have not seen the actual conveyance happen yet on the clerk of court's website, but the new owner in the building apparently is going to be a pharmacist. They want to expand the pharmacy area, or what was Walgreens, to 7,000 square feet. It'll include an expanded grocery, not obviously a pharmacy, and perhaps some other kind of food venue, which would require some work at the county for their use. I thought it was nice of them to let us know. So yes, a pharmacy is in the works. That's all I have for now, but as soon as we know who the vendor is, we'll let you know. All right? Thank you. Hi, Judy. Wait, come up to the...
I belong to Conviva or Conviva, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They have a Humana there on the second floor, and they are willing to take the leftover people here
Sure.
that need prescriptions.
They have
They're right outside.
And they have a pharmacy in that building.
Yes, on the second floor.
And also Found Care across the street. If you're with them as your primary care, they can they have a pharmacy as well.
Right.
Okay.
So nobody will do without.
Okay. Do we have any other new business? Okay. Commissioner Weiss, you're up. I think we should give him a big round of applause because he does a lot for us.
Well, good morning. Wonderful to be with you. I do hope everybody did have a wonderful celebration, 4th of July. And just to echo Captain Palenzuela's comments, I mean, a couple of things. Number one, just how wonderful it is to have been able to live in this country and have all the advantages that we have in the United States, greatest country on the earth. So grateful for that. Look, we saw Hurricane Beryl, the damage it's done. It should be a reminder to all of us that this is the time to start. If you haven't prepared, we have plenty of time, so take your time, put your list together, and make sure that you have enough supplies on hand to be able to take care of yourself, if you have animals, your animals, potentially even your neighbors, for at least 5 days. You need to have that level of supplies in your house, and don't forget your medications. It's really important because, if we get hit with a hurricane, we could be on our own for a few days before things start to open back up again, and you want to make sure you're able to take care of yourself. And then, I was asked if I have any words of wisdom, and I think my word of wisdom today is going to be gratitude. Just really grateful for the opportunity, number one, to represent you and serve you on the county commission, but number two, grateful that we all get to live in this great community together. I have a couple of introductions to make. We have Niels is back. He was out visiting his family last month, so we missed him. And then from my office, I have Virginia Savietto. Virginia was elected to the school board last month unopposed, so she'll be representing folks on Palm Beach County School Board. So
That's how it starts.
And lastly, if there's anything you need, my office is always standing by, and I am as well, to assist you. And then the very last thing, please, please do not allow construction in these units without permits. We've had buildings that have been red tagged, meaning they shut the building down, and the people who live in those buildings have to find other places to live. It's not fair that folks that have nothing to do with these construction projects get impacted, but you all have to take a role in keeping an eye on what's happening and making sure it's being done properly. We don't want to see anybody having to be removed from their homes, and God forbid, we do not want to see anybody injured because of inadequate construction being done on these units. So please do the right thing. I know it's a pain, but it's the right thing to do, and it'll make sure that who's ever doing that work on your units are doing it properly. So with that, have a wonderful rest of July.
Thank you. Varissa, you're up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Varissa Laldas. It's Varissa, like Marissa with a V. I am your Port Commissioner for District 2 at the Port of Palm Beach. I have some quick port updates. We are doing a job fair. So the Riviera Police Department is putting on this job fair, but I recruited about 10 of our port tenants to participate in it. So that includes CMEX, Cheney Brothers, and many others, and that's going to be on at the Brooks Center on July 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. If you or any family members or anyone you know is interested in attending, I would be happy to provide more information. I also have a very exciting announcement. I can't tell you which line, but we are getting an additional cruise vessel. That vessel is going to come in 2026. It is going to be a luxury line it's going to be comparable to the Princess and Viking cruise ships. I can't tell you the specific carrier yet, but I look forward to being able to inform you of that as soon as it's open for release to the public. So a little bit about me, because this is an election year. I was appointed in 2022, and now I have to run to keep the seat. So I was appointed by a majority of the commission. And at that time, the reason that they appointed me was because I already served on 2 port committees. I attended all of the meetings. I knew our issues. I knew what we were doing at the port currently and where we were going and the things that we were trying to accomplish. So the other commissioners had full confidence in me that I could hit the ground running. And that's exactly what we've done at the port. We just had our most profitable year in history. We are operating at last year we made an additional $3 million net profit gain. Now this matters because we don't charge any taxes. We are completely self-operating. Our job as commissioners is to generate the revenue we need to be self-operating so that we can pay our own bills so that taxpayers like you don't have to. And we're already doing an amazing job of that. Currently, we're at $4 million right now, and by the end of this year, we're going to close out at a historic $7 million net profit. That matters because it reduces the likelihood of us ever having to levy taxes for you. So that puts more money in your pocket, and that matters especially in this economy. Some additional, I think it's something that really distinguishes me as a commissioner is my community-based focus. I have I have been present at Century Village since the moment that I swore in as commissioner. I regularly come here. I'm dedicated to being one of the port commissioners, probably the most present, coming here to give you updates, to let you know what's going on at the port. And that's something that's going to continue. If there was ever a situation where I was not to swear in, I don't know that we would have that same consistency. I have been here. I am dedicated to keeping our residents here well informed about what we're doing at the port. I took the time, I organized a port tour for the Century Village community, and I am dedicated to, if reelected, making sure that we have at least 2 of those tours a year.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, I'm really sorry. Well, I asked for your vote. My 3 minutes are up. I'm endorsed by West Palm Fire, County Fire, BizPAC, Economic Council, ABC Builders, and the Fraternal Order of Police. The majority of the community has full faith in me, and I ask for your vote. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Amy from Ann Gannon's office, you're next.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Ebersbach. I'm from Constitutional Tax Collector Ann Gannon's office. Thank you again for allowing us to be here. Just one short announcement. If you are on our installment payment plan, just a reminder, July 31st is your deadline to make that first payment. If you do not make that first payment, you will be dropped from the program. Also, a reminder, our hurricane guides, our pocket hurricane guides are available. You can just pop online to www.pbctax.com, hurricane guides, and request them, and we will mail them out to you. Thank you so much. You guys have a great rest of your day and weekend, and stay cool.
Thank you, Amy. Daniel, Public Defender for Palm Beach County.
A little taller than Amy. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I am Dan Eisinger. I am the Chief Assistant at the Public Defender's Office right now. You may not know this, but the Public Defender's Office is an elected position. It's a constitutional office, just like property appraiser, tax collector, sheriff, and so forth. So for all these years, your public defender has been Carrie Howitt. She's been your PD for about 25 years, and she's retiring, and I'm running to succeed her, and I've been her number 2 for many, many, many years. Last time I was here, on my way out, somebody asked me, well, has there been an increase or an uptick in people charged with crimes who were over 65? And I thought that was a really interesting question. I didn't know the answer. My gut told me the answer was yes, but I wasn't sure. So I went back, ran the data with the clerk's office, looked at our internal numbers, and sure enough, it is true. And it's no surprise that the biggest drivers of crime, of course, are poverty and mental health. And those are 2 things we focus on at the Public Defender's Office. One quick example of how we do that, in one of my own cases that I took not too long ago, is that we had a gentleman in Boca who had Alzheimer's disease. And he kept going back to the home that he had lived in 20 years before, thinking that it was still his home. It was really sad. And the police kept showing up because he was essentially trespassing, and they kept taking him to jail. He must have gone back and forth before I even knew about him 6 or 7 times. Eventually ended up in the misdemeanor mental health court that I started about 1.5 years ago or so, where we link clients with services. So we got him a place to live, an assisted living facility with a caseworker, and he hasn't gone back since. He's getting the treatment and the care that he deserves, because that's what we should do for our elderly citizens. I got a nice bouquet of flowers. I thought they were going to be from him or his family. They weren't. They were from the homeowner. Because these are nice people who wanted nothing bad to happen to this poor gentleman, but they also, obviously, it was an unnerving thing to have him keep showing up. So that's the kind of work we do at the Public Defender's Office. Obviously, we try a lot of cases and we defend people who can't afford counsel, but we also care about the holistic side of it. We try to provide services, whether it be mental health, substance abuse, because if we can get people on track, if we can get people feeling good, it'll be good for them, obviously, but good for all of us, because it'll be a public safety improvement for the community. So again, my name is Dan Eisinger. I'll be on the ballot August 20th. I've earned Carrie's endorsement, but many others, including the unions, the Teachers Association, and many others. I look forward to being your next public defender. Remember me, Dan Eisinger. I'll be first on the ballot August 20th, and I should say it's a universal primary, which means there's no Republican candidate, so it'll be over in August, which also means any Republican, non-party affiliated person, independent, can vote for in this election in August. Thank you very so much.
Thank you. Roderick Clark.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning. Ohio gozaimasu, that's Japanese, where I was stationed at for over 15 years of my 20 years serving in the Marine Corps. I'd like to take a second to honor all the veterans like myself, because if it's not for veterans like myself that serve in peacetime and war, we wouldn't have a safe America. We wouldn't have a secure America where you can vote on the issues you want to vote for, where you can vote the people in from the top down to the bottom. So please, another hand for all the veterans, please. Because America is truly home of the bold and the free, but it's just because we have the strongest military in the world. My name is Roderick Clark. I'm running for the Port of Palm Beach, and this is my third time running. And yes, I want your vote just like you did the last time. These are just a few things that I will be bringing to the port. Port security, which I did that during the Iraqi war as we were entering into Baghdad. We need a better security around our ports. Our ports are an entryway, just like the border. People come in and people go out. We want the right people to come in, and we want to keep the negative people out. And that's something we don't have right now. We also want to build up the port, just like Larissa said. We want to bring in more economy in there. And how you drive the economy, bring in more tenants. More tenants means more revenue. More revenue means better for every city, from here all the way to the Glades, which that's what we want to do. We also want to vote in the right people. There's a board. These people are elected. These people are obviously doing their job. My opponent, which I will see in November, she's not doing her job. We need to vote in the right person. It's time to put Roderick Clark on the board. It's time to put one man with a vision, with a purpose, to bring more transparency to the budget. It's time for a better port. Thank you.
Thank you. Captain Jackson, you're next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Jackson, and I'm running for the Port of Palm Beach. So to tell you a little bit about me, for those of you who I haven't had the opportunity to meet, I was born and raised here in Palm Beach County. I went away to the Marine Corps as a decorated Marine Corps veteran. And upon leaving the Marine Corps, I joined the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. There I rose to the rank of captain. I supervised the largest units at the Sheriff's Office. I had the largest budget at the Sheriff's Office. And I've never had any problems with any of it. Sheriff Bradshaw was very proud of me. In fact, upon my retirement, he gave me one of the highest honors bestowed upon law enforcement personnel, the Legion of Merit Award. While at the Sheriff's Office, I handled a lot of big cases. I ran the Sheriff's Office drug farm. For those of you who have been around in Palm Beach County for a long time, you know that was a substance abuse treatment center. And there I got the national award for having the best substance abuse treatment center in the nation. Every year that I was there, even President Bush put it in a book about the drug farm. And when California was spending too much money on substance abuse and locking people up, he told Arnold Schwarzenegger that he needed to contact Lieutenant Jackson at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office drug farm. Those things are facts. You can find that. And but anyway, so one of the other things that I handled, a big case that a lot of you will know about, the Epstein case. We managed that case, and when the governor had a task force to come and investigate it, the sheriff tasked me with handling, and of course we were told that we ran a stellar program, the best in the country, and that was under my watch. So I spent 20 years as an elected official. That's the Thousand Oaks Community Development. I was the chair of that community development district. It's a special district, like the port. It's a special taxing district. The developer that built the development, he took out a $40 million bond, so that bond repayment was passed on to the homeowners that bought those homes. And me and my team have shaved off 5 years off that bond by just simply refinancing the debt once the interest rates went down. I've had a lot of successes. I'm also the president of the Revere Beach Housing Authority. There I focused on seniors. I built one project for 180 units, and that was for seniors. And I want to thank Commissioner Weiss here, because just last week the county approved the way for me to do a program that I'm now doing. It's going to be about 150 units, and the county gave us $13 million, set aside $13 million for us to help build that project. That's going to be somewhere between a $60 and $65 million project. I've had a particular focus on seniors, and that has been documented in Palm Beach County for a long time. So that Heron Estates was done in 2000, we were finished in 2022. We're going to break ground on this next project in 25, God willing, and I expect nothing but nothing but success in it. And I also want to talk about security is a very important thing at the port. Roger was right, and that's one of the things that's in my literature. I want to expand the port. I want to enhance technology and aging infrastructure. Those are some of the key things that need to be done in the port. And so I'd like your vote August 20th. Thank you very much. I'm Jeff Jackson.
Thank you. Chief Friedman, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members, for this opportunity. Many of you all know that I've been before you for a number of times now, running for sheriff of Palm Beach County, and I made a commitment to you all that I'm going to place a sheriff's substation here once I'm the sheriff at no cost to you all. But I also want to share with you some concerns about your tax dollars that you're paying to the sheriff's office. Palm Beach County residents that are taxpayers pay $150 a day to house one inmate in the county jail. And if you times that times, well, let me back up a little bit. We have two jails here in Palm Beach County. We have the jail on Gun Club Road, and we have the jail in western Palm Beach County in the Glaze area. The jail on Gun Club Road houses 2,166 inmates. The jail in the west house 998 inmates, for a combined total of 3,164 inmates, times 106 times $150 that taxpayer pay to house those inmates. That's going to be $474,600 that we taxpayer pay to house one inmate in the county jail. And if you times 474,600 times 365, that's $173,229 that we as taxpayer pay to house one inmate in the county jail. And the county jail is now at capacity and is overflowing with inmates sleeping on the floor.
Thank you.
So as your next sheriff, we're going to work with apprenticeship programs and educational programs that are willing to come into the sheriff's office and train those men and women in the trade, those who find themselves a part of this revolving door, coming back and forth to the county jail on the backs of taxpayers. We're also going to work with employers that are willing to come into the sheriff's office, whether it be every 30 days, every 90 days, to hold job fairs for those men and women so that when they transition back in our communities, they are gainfully employed, so that you and I won't be a victim of their behavior, because the goal is to set them on the right track. You know, and when we talk about recidivism and your taxpayer dollars, you know, law enforcement and the correction industry are not doing anything to correct those men and women. So the most fitting words, as opposed to Department of Correction and Rehabilitation, the most fitting words is the Department of Incarceration and Rehabilitation. And that is why we continue to see crime grow here throughout Palm Beach County and throughout the world, because we're not doing anything to save those men and women. Now, many of them deserve to be in jail, and I know I'm not going to be able to save them all. But at the cost of keeping Palm Beach County safe, I'm going to do that. I'm also going to address human trafficking here in Palm Beach County, which is the big thing that is going on, and it's not being addressed. We have to address those adult entertainment clubs here in Palm Beach County where we know human trafficking is going on. But unfortunately, folks
Your time's up, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Hi, Mary Ann Somerset G. This is for Commissioner Weiss. I know we have an issue on Haverhill entrance. You have those yellow stanchion things. Well, now people are making U-turns at the light. If I didn't jam on my brakes, I would have been hit over there. Is there a way of getting a no U-turn sign?
No,
they're
but I
just
know they're
making
going to be
U-turns.
putting up a cement barrier shortly to
Oh, are
prevent
they?
that, yes.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, those things are temporary until the cement
Right.
barrier goes up.
Right, so we got those up in place. They are supposed to raise the median on Haverhill. That makes it impossible for people to make illegal U-turns. But at the light, people have the right to make a U-turn, so we're not going to be able to change that. What we actually did is I asked traffic to widen the road a little bit, so it's to accommodate the U-turns a little bit better. But at the light, people are allowed to make U-turns. But we are going to do, and I just asked them this morning for an update as to when they will be installing the raised median along Haverhill, which will cut down on the illegal U-turns. I hope that helps.
All right, thank you. Donald, quick question.
Yep.
You talk
Hi, Mary Ann.
Hi. You talk about, boards taking charge of this.
Yeah, that's not a problem in your association. We know who the sheriff is.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
It is.
But there are some boards that are coming in and getting on the boards, and they're the ones doing the illegal.
We're aware of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. And listen, I want to thank all of you for all you do and being here today, too. So thank you.
Okay. Under the good of the order, I just want to remind everybody, we're making phone calls for the second Friday of the month, where I'm inviting presidents, we're going in alphabetical order, to come and have coffee with me on the second Friday from 9:30 to 11:30. If you have not yet received a phone call, you will. I limit that group to 12 to 15 people. And if you want to come in, and because you have not received a phone call or you're anxious to hear me speak, on the third Friday of the month in room C, I give a similar presentation. We just don't get the handouts, but we follow the same agenda. And that's open for any president, any board member, any resident, whether a unit owner or not, at Century Village. Most of the officers attend, and we do record the meeting, and we do put it on channel 591. So if you have any questions, third Friday of the month, room C, 9:30 to 11:30. Anything for the good of the order?
I just wanted to mention that if, it was mentioned about a corporate seal. If for some reason you lost it or it's 100 miles away, order a new corporate seal from Amazon. Comes within a week or less, and there you'll have a corporate seal with you. Also, the brochure that Dominic was talking about are items that are not requiring a permit. I think you should pick that up again. With regard to all this illegal renovation and construction, here's something, say something. God forbid it's going to get to a point where unfortunately somebody's going to be injured. And as Yugo is taking a very, very strong stand against this illegal construction. And we're not going to let people get away with it as best as we can.
And to follow up on that, if you have questions or you're not sure, you're always welcome to call our office at...
All right, guys. So you've probably noticed... Oh, I'm so sorry, Niels. You turned sideways. I couldn't see you. You probably noticed my face was in the phone. Oh, I'm so sorry. You probably noticed my face was in the phone for a good part of this meeting. Why? This morning I got another call of another gut job in Stratford. Complete gut job. No permits, no insurance, no nothing. So it's not going away. We have to really all get together, and I know I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. We got to get together and stop this problem. Thank you.
I got one quick question.
Yeah, John.
Are these unit owners being fined
There are a number of situations where we see a unit owner who ignores and doesn't come into compliance after receiving a notice of violation, going to the special magistrate's docket, which is essentially the judge that goes to these code enforcement. That's a legal question that the board needs to go to their attorney for, but I know of cases where individual unit owners have been fined, and also associations have been fined. I'm aware of one that's now currently under a $75 a day fine until they get their building back into compliance because of a number of issues. So I don't think the county likes fining. I think they would much prefer to have compliance and safety. But when you have recalcitrant people, absolutely, they do get fined.
I just to add up onto that, this is it's a triple-edged sword. We can only do so much. We notify who we have to, but we need cooperations from the board also. A lot of board members, as soon as we tell them, Donald and I say, listen, you need to go to your attorney. Oh, my attorney charges too much money. Well, if you get hit with a fine or they condemn your building, you're not doing your due diligence. So get on the board and get your board to have an attorney to follow through. Use your management company, send letters, stay on top of the unit owners. Yes, Ms.
Bosco, we hear these horror stories, but we never know what the endings are.
Well, there's one that's going on for 5 years.
That doesn't help us. We need to, my thing is, a lot of people here who are committing these things are very non-complacent because there's nothing you do about it. We talk about it and talk about it, but we never see or hear the end result.
You're absolutely right, Judy. And as much as I can when I have updates on these, I mean, you see when the initial disasters happen, and they're in my, and we all talk about it. It's in my report. It's in my articles. I don't keep a secret of it. When there are resolutions or even non-resolutions, I do provide updates. But you're absolutely right. Once these gut jobs happen, it takes years to straighten them out. They don't get resolved in any kind of time that makes sense to us. So the moral here, Judy, is not to let it happen in the first place. Judy, I know you walk in your building, but many don't. They just surprise, and there's a lot of reasons for this. And sometimes it's the active board member isn't so active anymore. They don't get out of the house as much. That's what your property manager's for. You got to be prowling these buildings looking for what's going on. In the old days, when I was a kid here at Century Village, if my grandfather picked up a screwdriver, the president was on top of him saying, "What are you doing, Pete?" And it'd aggravate him no end, but that's how it was here, and you didn't have these problems. We can help. We can advise. We can use our position as community manager to try to control the shoemakers that are coming in here, knocking down walls, and that's what you saw me doing just now on the phone. But ultimately, it's the boards and the unit owners are the first line of defense. Don't let it happen. The minute something happens, just get on top of it. And yeah, you got to spend money on lawyer. That's just the only thing that many of these unit owners understand. Okay?
Anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, Don Quinager again. I think the term culpable ignorance fits the fact that these people should know better, but will go ahead to satisfy their ego. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. All right. Hearing nothing else for the good of the order, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And thank you, everybody, for coming today. Yeah, you deserve a round of applause for coming in on Friday. Yes. Thank you. Sandy Levine made a motion to adjourn. Thank you, gentlemen.